Hello everybody, Def here, and today we'll be going over sorting. Now, sorting is it's a module that has a numerous amount of scenarios to it.
In reality, all
and
doing is pushing the
likely there is specifically one you don't understand, so I'm going to have a timestamp of each individual sort so you can go to the one that you need. Let's take a look at quick sort real quick. Yeah, so let's go over quick sort real quick, and let's take a look at the manual. Actually, it's best if we don't start with quick sort and more go from top to bottom. But in case you don't know sorting at all, I'll give a quick rundown of what it is. Basically, you're given a group of 5 numbers, or a set of 5 numbers, and you need to basically sort them from ascending order, or sort them into ascending order. So, right now, for this example right here, the correct order of this is 9, 25, 51, 53, and 97. But and that would be the module sorted correctly. And the module is ordered from bottom left to top left to bottom middle to top right to bottom right. So in a zigzag formation, or from left to right. But yeah, let's go over these one at a time. Bubble sort is the first one we'll cover. What you do, basically there is I think a saying for bubble sort where the higher values float to the top, and you'll notice that with when you actually do it. So you swap bubble. In bubble, you swap 1 with 2. If a label is higher, you swap 1 with 2, then 2 with 3, then 3 with 4, then 4 with 5, and then you just repeat that. You'd repeat that forever. So in this case, we check 19 and 98. 98 is higher, so we don't swap these two. 98 is higher than 70, so we swap this. Same with 23, and same with 1. And then we go back to beginning. 19 is not greater than 70, so we ignore it. However, 70 is greater than 23, and 1. And again, we go back to beginning. 19 is not greater than 23, but 23 is greater than 1, so we do that. Then we have 19 and 1, and obviously we just sort those two. And that's bubble sort. Slow sort is... this one's also a very simple one, and I apologize for having to pause the tutorial real quick, but I need to reset this one. This is an absolute must in my day. Slow sort. It's the same sort of principle where if one label is higher, then we swap it. However, oh god, where to go? Here, I guess. However, as the name implies, we do it in a very inefficient fashion. So, for this one, we swap 1 and 2 if 1 is greater than 2. And I think this is a good enough resolution for the game where you can see what's in the game and also what's in the manual. So, yeah, we swap 1 and 2 if 2 is greater than 1. Then 2 and 3 if 2 is greater than 3, and then we go back to 1 and 2. So this is kind of like a Stooge Sort if you know what that one is. So yeah, 1 and 2. And then we swap 4 and 5, but they're already sorted against each other. Then 3 and 5, but again that's already sorted against each other. Then 1 and 2, but that's sorted. 3 and 4, this is not sorted. And then 2 and 4, and then we just repeat from the beginning. 1 and 2, then 2 and 3, then 1 and 2. I'm going to get very annoyed at that solve sound due to the amount of just ones I have to solve. Alright, let's see. Let's take a look at cycle sort. If I could find one. There we go. Cycle. This one I I especially like. It's fun. Basically, what you do is you go from left to right, and this is one of the sorts where you have to assume its sorted position, or you have to get its sorted position before you actually start anything. You can't do it on the fly like slow sort or Bogo Sort. This is one you have to do yourself. But this was the one I was doing. But essentially what you do is you start with the leftmost unsorted position, and then you swap it with the spot that it would be when it's sorted. So if we have 67, 16, 86, 1, and 62, the correct order will be 1, 16, 62, 67, and 86. So 67 goes in the 4th spot, so we swap it. And 1 is already the lowest position, so we move on from 1 to the next lowest position. 2 is already sorted, so we go to the next unsorted position, which is 3. 3 is not sorted, so we swap those. However, that example was quick, and it does not entirely show what cycle sort is about, so I'll do this one as well. So the order for this one is 45, 48, and I just zoom in on this because there's nothing else for Notepad to fill. 64, 79, and 85. So 45 is already sorted. However, and then we just continue on. Oh no, this one's boring as well. Just swap these. This should be an interesting example. Okay, so the correct order for this is 5, 34, 68, 96, and 99. So, what you do, again, you start in the leftmost position, and then if it's not the lowest, then you compare it, or you put it in the spot that it would be if it was sorted correctly. So 99 would go in the 5th spot because it is the highest. And then again, we compare the leftmost spot that is unsorted, which is still 1. So 34, assuming it's sorted, will go here. And you would continue that process until the lowest value is in 1, and then the lowest value is in 2, and then 3, then 4. So yeah, it's a pretty neat one. Let's see. But yeah, that's cycle sort. Now on to merge sort. And this is one of the few. This is like the only one that actually requires a serial number. So let's see. The first digit of the serial number is even, so we're gonna follow this. Let's see. So let's see. Merge sort. Let's see. So at the beginning of merge sort, we follow these instructions no matter what. So we would swap 1 with 2 if 2 is greater than 1, and then 4 and 5 if 4 is greater than 5. And then we follow this rule set, which is swap the 5th position with the greatest label from positions 3 and 5. So let's see. The 5th position, the greatest label from 3 to 5 would be 58. And then we would swap the 3rd position with the 4th if the 3rd one is greater than 4, which it is. And instead of being recursive, we are going to refer to selection sort, which is all the way somewhere in some direction. There we go. Which is just swap the lowest label in the 1st position, and the 2nd lowest label in the 2nd position, and the 3rd lowest with a 3rd, and the 4th and 5th. And so, if the first digit of serial number was odd, instead of doing the greatest from 3 to 5, we would do the smallest from 1 to 3. So not much changes there. Now let's do an insertion sort For insertion sort, what we're going to do is we are going to have a sort of list, and in that list we want it to be sorted at all times. So what we do is the first two items in our list is going to be 89 and 86, and because that's not sorted, we're going to swap them. Then we add 51 to the list. We want to compare the second and third one and sort them against each other. 51 is less than 89, so we're going to swap those. And 51 is less than 86, so we're going to swap those. Then we're going to go to 8. 8 is lower than all of these, but instead of doing 8 and 51, we're going to have to go all the way back. So 8 goes here, then here, then here. And same with 38. 38 goes back until it is in the correct spot. So 38 goes here, then here, then here. So yeah, insertion can basically just be summed down to put an item as far back as it physically can be in that particular sequence. So let's do another one just for that. Let's do another example. So 27 and 68. We swap these two because, well, 68 is greater. 95 is not greater than 68, so we're going to ignore that. However, 6 is lower than all of these numbers, so we're going to swap them, or we're going to swap numbers until 6 goes into the last spot. And 38 goes in the middle, so we can just do that as well. And ignore the 2 strikes I got from insertion. I forgot my sort and I thought it was selection. Now we're going to go over Heap Sort. And Heap Sort is one that keeps track of the amount of times it's been run. So, although you have to keep track of the amount of time it's been run, you won't be doing it for that long, or you don't do all the steps for that many times. So that's it's okay. It's not going to be a long process. So starting with this, we are going to have to, let's see. Since this is our first time doing the heap sort, let's highlight all the ones that we have to keep track of, which is all of them. And so we just follow all of these conditions. We swap 2 and 4 if 2 is smaller than 4. It is not, so we're going to keep them as it is. We're going to swap 2 and 5 if 2 is smaller than 5. And it's not, so again we keep that as it is. We swap 1 and 2 if 1 is smaller than 2, which it is. We swap 1 and 3 if 1 is smaller than 3, which it is.
Why did you do that?
Oh, 1, excuse me. Again, can't read. We swap 2 and 4 if 2 is smaller than 4, which it is. And then 2 and 5 if 2 is smaller than 5, which it is. And then we repeat. However, this is the second time we're running this. So, we're going to do this, 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 and this. Let's see. Oh wait, oops, before I do that, actually, we're going to swap the first position with the last unsorted position. So, 30 is the last unsorted position, so we're going to swap these two numbers. And now we repeat. This is the second time we're doing a heap sort. So we're going to swap 2 and 4 if 2 is smaller than 4. It's not. Then we're going to do 1 and 2 if 1 is smaller than 2, which it is. Then we're going to do 1 and 3 if 1 is smaller than 3. It's not. Then 2 and 4. 2 is not smaller than 4. And we're going to swap 1 with the last unsorted position, which is this. Now then, this is our third time doing the sort. So, we only have to follow these two rules. Okay, yeah. So we're going to swap 1 and 2 if 1 is smaller, it is. And then 1 and 3 if 1 is smaller, which is not. And then we're going to swap 1 with the last unsorted position, which is this. And then this is our 4th time doing Heap Sort. And because we've exhausted all of these e-lifts, we're just going to swap one with the unsorted position with the last unsorted position. So, let's see. So these two are sorted, so it's just this. Oh yeah, that's Heap Sort. It's questionable at best. And now we're on to Radix Sort. If I can find one. There we go. Now, this one is a bit tricky to understand at first, but basically what you do is you split each number into a pair of numbers, and then you sort them based off the right digit, you swap them based off their right digit first, and then their left digit. So the first thing that we want to sort is the right digit, and we want to sort it from 0 to 9. So what we just do is we swap 0 and 9, because 0 is less than 9, so we swap those two. 2 is less than 5, so we swap those two. And 5 is less than 8, so this stays as is. And you can do it in any you can do it in any order, as long as you... Well, you can't do it in any order. You have to do it from left to right, basically. So you would have to put 0 here, or you have to put the smallest here, then the second smallest here, and then etc. But yeah. And once we're done with that, we're going to sort them from based on their left digit. So 0 again, was 0 from 0 to 9. So the left digit, excuse me, so 0 is lower than all the other digits, so we're going to put this here. Positionally, actually no, I was going to bring in an edge case, but because we're at the point where it's all technically sorted, according to Radix Sort, basically we can just put them in any order that we want. We can do any moves to put them in the right spot, because these are in the same order, or rather they have the same left digit. That's just an edge case. That's 1 to 2 edge cases. The other edge case is this right here, if you have 2 of the same number. As it states up here, if multiple numbers match a rule, positionally leftmost numbers are smaller. So let's swap these real quick. So this is the smallest right digit, and this is the second smallest left digit, or second smallest right digit. But as you can see here, we have 83 and 43. Both of them are 3, and they're tied for the third smallest. You don't swap these two, because positionally, this 83 is smaller than this 43. So you would just ignore this and swap this 43 and this 35. And then we continue on like normal. Then we compare the left digit, 0 is less than 1, this goes here, 3 is the third one, and 4 is the fourth one, 8 is the fifth one. Yeah, and that's Radix Sort. How many more do I have to do? Oh lord. Okay. Comb Sort. Alright. What we're going to do is this one we're going to oscillate from left to right. And we have a quote-unquote distance. It says distance, it's more of an offset. We compare the current number with the number that is its position plus the offset. And we swap the two if the left one is greater than the right one. So let's see. So the starting distance is 3, and then you move from left to right. So let's see. This 54, instead of comparing it to this, we would compare it to the 47, which is 3 spaces away. And 54 is less than 47, so we do that. And then we go on from the first label to the second label. 45 is not less than 92, so we ignore that. And once we reach the fifth number, we restart the beginning by decreasing our distance by 1. So originally our distance was 3, or our offset was 3, but now our offset is going to be 2. So we compare 47 with the one that is 2 spaces away, which is 89. That is not smaller, so we continue on. 45 and 54, that's not smaller, so we continue on. Then 89 and 92, that is not smaller, so we move on. And now we have an offset of 1. And that's basically just decrease the thing, swap the 2 if 1 is greater. So 45 and 47, then 89 and 54. So basically, once you do come step for the third time, you then just do a insertion sort. Alright, but there's comb sort. Quick sort, let's see. Let's find a quick sort. Here is one. There we go. Okay. So basically, we have some terms. We have the pivot and the current. The pivot is always going to start at 1, and the current is always going to be at 5. And basically, if the pivot and current are not sorted against each other, then we just swap the 2. And let's see. And if they are the same value, then the current is 1 closer. So if we would happen to have like 45 and 45, then we would just move the current to be 1 closer. Or rather, sorry, I said something completely wrong. Ignore what I just said. Basically, if they are sorted at this point, then the pivot becomes the earliest unsorted. I'm stupid. God, I'm fumbling on this explanation. I need to drink. How long is this tutorial so far? Been talking for 26 minutes. Alright. Restart the recording. Alright. Quick sort. Basically, you're given 2 things. You're given 2 terms. You're given the pivot term and the current term, and that's basically just where you're comparing against. It's basically where you're comparing with and against. So the pivot is always going to start on 1, and the current is always going to start on 5. And we're going to swap 1 and 5 if they're not sorted against each other. So basically, if the pivot is greater than the current, then you swap the 2. And basically, once you do that, you then check if you then decrease by 1. And if at any point you and once you do that, you then go to the earliest unsorted position for your pivot and the latest unsorted position for your current. So the earliest unsorted position would be this 45, because 3 is already sorted, and the latest unsorted would be 56, because 56 should be over here. Let's see. Yeah. So then you compare these two. 45 is not greater than 56, so then we go to the, let's see. Then we don't swap these two. Oh, sorry. I said 45 was the earliest unsorted position, but I was wrong, because I can't count. 82 is the earliest unsorted position, so we swap these two, because those two are the unsorted. And then we swap 55 and 56, because those are the only unsorted terms. However, that was, again, a bad example, because 2 numbers were already sorted. So, here's another quick sort, and that number's sorted, and it's fine. So, let's see. We check 1 and 5. 1 is not greater than 5, so we then set the pivot to be the earliest unsorted position, which is this 71, and the latest unsorted position, which is this 45. These two are not sorted against each other, so then we swap them. Yeah. And once we do that, we then move the pivot to the earliest unsorted position, and the current to the latest unsorted position, and then we compare those. 51 is not greater than 71, so we... oh wait, no, 51 is not the pivot, my bad. 92 would be the pivot. And since 92 and 71 are not sorted against each other, we swap them. There's this one clause in Quicksort that that says if both of them are the same value, then per pivot equals the earliest unsorted position, and the current is the latest unsorted position. But I'm not entirely sure what that means in terms of when you would actually get that situation to happen. Because if you get pivot and current as the same thing, then that won't be... like, that just won't ever happen. That means that it's already sorted. So, I think that's just a useless clause in that particular section. Alright, so now we're going on to shell sort, and I need to find one. Shell sort is another relatively simple one, and at the end of this we referred to bubble sort, which was just the highest values flipped to the top. So, let's see, we're going to swap 1 and 3 if 1's greater than 3. It is. Then 2 and 4, which it is. Then 3 of 5 if 3 is greater than 5. And that happens to be sorted. So, I'll find another one. But again, shell sort is not particularly complex, so it should be fine. So 1 and 3, 1 is not greater than 3, 2 and 4, 2 is not greater than 4, 3 and 5, 3 is not greater than 5, and then 1 and 3, but 1 is not greater than 3. So yeah, since none of these applied, we're going to refer all the way back to bubble sort, which is 1 and 2, then 2 and 3, then 3 and 4, then 4 and 5. So yeah, not particularly that bad. Selection sort. What we do here is we're going to swap the... Okay, yep, I had to make sure that I actually continued recording. So what we're going to do in selection sort is, it's very simple. We are going to swap, well, yeah, it says it right here. We're going to swap the lowest label and the first position. So 31 is the lowest, so it goes here. And the second lowest is the second position, so this, and essentially what you do is you find the smallest label, and then you put it in the first spot. So yeah, smallest here, and then second smallest here.
How could there possibly be?
Which one did I do again? Oh, oops, that's insertion, not selection. Both of them end in TION, and I confused myself. So yeah, lowest with 1, second lowest with 2, but that's already there, third lowest with 3, and then you just swap 4 and 5, but it's not sorted already. Yeah, that's selection. Again, not that bad. Now then, 5 sort. Let's see. So we're going to swap the third largest number with the third position. It acts as a sort of barrier. Like we're going to compare the left half and the right half. So let's see. If the first position label is greater than the third largest number, then we're going to swap 1 with the earliest after the third position that is smaller than both. So basically we have this 86, and the earliest is going to be the this 56. And then 2, and then we do the same with 2 and 3. So, well, we do the same with 2. So if 2 is higher than the sort of pivot point, then we're going to swap it with the one that is earliest after the third position that is smaller than both. So again, we're going to take the 79, and we're going to swap it with the smaller than this one, so we're going to swap it with this 14. And then we sort the individual sides, so we swap the left half and the right half. Under the second example, where's 5? There it is. So we find the third highest one, that would be this 27. Let's see. And then we take this 98, because 98 is greater than this 27. So, we find the earliest position that is unsorted for this 5, or we find the earliest one that is less than both of these, which is 21. And then we do the same for 32. This 3 is less than both this 27 and this 32, so we swap. And then we swap 1 and 2, because those aren't sorted. And then 4 and 5. I'm also not sure why that is called 5 sort, because you don't have to deal with 5, it should be 3 sort, but that's just me. Cocktail shaker sort. This one is very fun. Basically, what you do is you sort them going forwards, and then you sort it going backwards if it's not done. And then forwards and backwards, and then just until it's done. So we see, okay, so we compare 1 and 2. These ones are sorted against each other. Then 2 and 3, these ones aren't, so we swap those. And 3 and 4, these ones aren't. And then 4 and 5, and that gets sorted. Let's see, let's do this one. 62 and 82, these don't swap. These ones do swap. 82 and 88 don't swap, but 88 and 76 does. And since we swapped these two, we're going backwards now. So 76 and 82, we swap those. So yeah, what essentially happens is you go from here, 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 and then all the way back, and then all the way forwards. And let's do one more, mainly because I like this one. So, let's see, we swap 1 and 2, because those are not sorted. Then 2 and 3, those are sorted. 3 and 4, then 4 and 5. And now, since we've hit 5, we go backwards. We do 4 and 3, those are sorted against each other. Then 3 and 2, these aren't. Then 2 and 1. And now that we've hit here, we go forwards again. 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 4, swap those, 4 and 5, hit that, we go back, 4 and 3, and then 3 and 2. So yeah, that's cocktail shaker sort. Okay, just these two left. The odd-even transposition. Let's see. Basically, okay, so we're gonna swap. Again, this is another simple one. We're just like comparing two specific values. So we're gonna swap 1 and 2. Again, if 1 is less than 2. Then 3 and 4. However, these are already sorted. Then 2 and 3. And then 4 and 5. And then we just repeat it. So then 1 and 2. Then 3 and 4. And if that hadn't been sorted for some reason, we continue on with 2 and 3, and then 4 and 5. And let's find another one of that. Odd even, yep. So 1 and 2, then 3 and 4, then 2 and 3, then 4 and 5. Again, let's repeat, and we're repeating this one. So 1 and 2, then 3 and 4, then 2 and 3, then 4 and 5, and then repeating again, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and a solve. Alright, so that's that one, and now we have Stooge Sort. This one is heavily recursive. Yeah, so basically, let me actually find one. The Stooge Sort is basically just sorting them in many small groups. And what you do is, so we're starting with we're starting with 1. And what we do is we compare 1 and 2, or 1, okay, so I'll do it as this says. We're comparing n and n plus 1, then n plus 1 with n plus 2, then n with n plus 1. So if this is the first time we're doing it, we'd be comparing 1 and 2, then 2 and 3, then 1 and 2. And then if we do it a second time, we'd be comparing 2 and 3, 3 and 4, then 2 and 3, and then 3 and 4, 4 and 5, 3 and 4. But yeah, let's do this. So yeah, 1 and 2, that's sorted. 2 and 3, that's not sorted. And 1 and 2 is not sorted again. And now we compare the next pair of 3. We compare 1 and 2, that's sorted. Then 2 and 3, that's now sorted. And then 1 and 2. However, because this is recursive, we now need to go back to the original subgroup of n equals 1. So we have to compare 1 and 2. I was expecting that not to be sorted. Let's see. Where is Stooge? There it is. Okay, yeah. So again, let's do this again. Let's see. Compare 1 and 2, then 2 and 3, then 1 and 2, and then we compare these 3. 1 and 2, 2 and 3, then 1 and 2. And then we compare these ones. 1 and 2, 2 and 3, then 1 and 2. And then we go to this mini array. 1 and 2, 2 and 3, and then it would be 1 and 2. But yeah, that one is heavily recursive. And finally, we're going over the best sort of Bogo. Basically, it strikes out to 256 inputs, so get good. But that has been an extremely elongated tutorial. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and get a job.